That's one of the measures that we use. And in addition, we also compute this measure, precision at 10 and score at 10. These are a couple of measures that Brian Davison's group, they used in their papers, and a lot of others are following their lead, if you like. And so we decided to also use precision at 10 and score at 10. And in order to do this, we have to have information about what is relevant. And so what we did is that within our group, my graduate student did the work, and then he created results for all these 30 queries, and then he gave the results to some of his colleagues, 5 other graduate students. And those graduate students, other graduate students who evaluated the results with respect to the query, they were asked to assign scores. Like for each result, they were asked to assign either -2 or -1 or 0 or 1 or 2. And the number they assign indicates what the student thinks, how relevant the result is for the query, for the hot query. And so the score at 10 is basically average of all these scores that were assigned for the top 10 results of the 30 queries by 5 different students. And the precision at 10 is like for every ranking, you see in which position are the non-spam, the good pages, in which position they are. And each of those good positions, you calculate a precision, and then you calculate average of those positions. So that's what is called precision at 10. Are there any question about precision? Anyhow, for those of you who don't know, in retrieval we commonly use measures like recall and precision. And precision basically says what percentage of the retrieved results are relevant. And so this is how the calculation is done. And so here in this chart we compare page rank and modified trust rank, and this is, you can say, essentially a repetition of some earlier work. But the earlier work, I'm not sure exactly if they used the exactly 3.4 million pages that we use. They may have used slightly different subset. I'm not sure. But I told my student when he first started, he's a new PhD student, so I said, just repeat what somebody else did. Then we worry about, our own work later on. And so the work that I described here with respect to how we incorporate trust into hits is we think is new work. It hasn't been done by others, but the incorporation of trust into page rank was done in earlier work. And so you can see that the results are better in terms of precision at 10 as well as score at 10. And in terms of the percentage of spam pages in the result, for page rank, about 41% of the results all over these 30 queries were spam. With modified trust rank, 17% were spam. And then we did similar results, similar experiments with hits, trusted hits and modified trust with hits. And again, you can see, so really trusted hits is it's like a yes or no type of decision. If it's, spam pages are directly, if they're not pointed to by any trusted page, they immediately go to the bottom. They get a score of 0. Whereas this method, is more graded. Like all the pages can get some rank, but the spam pages will get lower score. So when we initially did the work, when we did the research, we were really hoping that this will give us the best result. But but that didn't happen to be the case. We need to look at it more closely. I think that happened because we deal with only hot queries. And instead of dealing with only hot queries, if we work with some other type, more general queries, we hope or we expect maybe this guy will do better than trusted hits. But anyhow, in any case, we see that when we don't incorporate trust, is worse than when we do. And then these are some percentages. And again, I said, you know, we thought maybe we'll do better here, but it turns out trusted hits, we get 8% spam, whereas 23% here for hits. And for modified trusted hits, we get 15%. And so these are some thoughts we have, some ideas we have for future work. And as I told you, you know, we are just dealing with popular or hot queries, and we want to also try to see how our method works for more other type, more general ordinary queries. And you know, as I told you in the data set, there are different categories. Like there's normal and spam and unknown. So we are trying to see, you know, you know, whether we can learn and use some classification and classify sites that are unknown to be either normal or spam, and how to use that information for our research. And right now, the seed sets are generated basically from the information that's provided in the data set. But in order to handle something like unknown, you know, we need some automatic methods actually, I don't quite remember what we were talking about in this context. Automated process to generate seed set. I think that you know, every time for each query, you know, he has to generate seed set from the top 200 ranked results, and I don't quite recall what was the manual effort involved, and how he wants to automate. And then a lot of this information that I talked about, how to calculate the trustworthiness, is based on link information, and we want to make it more sophisticated by extracting additional features based on content, like, you know, analyze the page content itself and incorporate into the ranking not only evidence of spam via links, but also evidence of spam via content. And so in trust rank, the calculation of trust rank, we just use trusted pages. And so, you know, just like we propagate trust, we can propagate distrust, and you know, we haven't looked at some other options like that yet. So really, as I told you before, you know, this is a very important area of research. You know, if you have a great technique, I know that some of the search companies would like you, and they might be willing to pay some big bucks to you. And there's a lot of techniques that require background in graph theory and background in doing this kind of propagation, you know, authority propagation, trust propagation, distrust propagation. You know, all of this kind of work involves, not, in some sense it involves graph analysis, but in another sense, a lot of these calculations can be translated